Here we go. Take 3, take 4 actually, take 16, who knows? Hi, I'm Philippe Lunsden. I'm known as the Insurance Guru, and I want to thank you so much for being here today. I have a very, very special treat for you. We're going to talk about the 3 pillars of success. This is something that is very, very important to me, something that I've been doing for a long time. I mean, I've been doing it since 2004, so that's almost over 19 years. I've done this to tens of thousands of people, saving people hundreds of thousands of dollars and hours and all kinds of frustration. I tell you, this is an amazing system, and if you stick to the system, if you use the system, very simple system, you're going to find yourself having some amazing runaway success. So let's go ahead and get started and dive right into what I call my 3 pillars of success, right? So 3 pillars of success. And the reason I have the 3 pillars is because it made it really simple, really easy to follow. And I found these 3 categories over years and years and years of finding solutions to problems. I started to notice that these problems were falling into 1 of 3 categories. And if we could better figure out what the values were for you in each of these categories, we could really try to circumvent or completely avoid a lot of these problems and risks that lie in the future. And these risks, they exist. I mean, they're potholes, they're out there. I know where they are. You can avoid them. See, that's why I'm called a guru and not a master, because I guide the way. I light the path so you can find your own way. Because I truly believe we're all uniquely individuals, and it's an amazing thing. But this 3 pillars works for everyone. You see, it's not just for one kind of person, it's for every kind of person. So let's go ahead and get started. So we've got the 3 pillars. The first pillar that we're going to talk about today is the company. The company pillar. And the company pillar is an important pillar. And why is the company pillar important? Because the company is the program that is going to be administrating your insurance, okay? Now notice that these 3 pillars today, we're going to be talking about how they kind of fall into an insurance category, but you can use these for other categories as well. Today we're going to talk about insurance. So with the company, it's an important category to consider because there's certain things that you need to look at in a company that will kind of give you a crystal ball or give you the ability to have some foresight in what could happen in the future. And some of the questions that you're going to want to ask yourself in regards to the company is it a small company or is it a big company? So small/big. And why does that matter? Well, if you live in a localized area and you travel a lot and you do business with a small company that doesn't exist in all the areas you travel to, that might not be the best fit for you. Or maybe vice versa. Maybe you live in a local area, you don't travel a lot, and you're with a larger company that does business all over the United States, and you're paying a higher premium for that availability and you don't travel. So it really does matter whether or not you're with a big or small company. This is going to change the values, the prices, and the different demographics of where you live. It's going to change the different access points and the benefits that you'll have at your fingertips with resources and tools, depending on how big and small the company is. Another thing that you want to consider too is something called capital. Capital is also known as what, guys? What do you think capital is known as, right? That's money, okay? So capital is also known as money. And why does capital matter? Well, let's draw a little line right here and let's talk about that. Small and big. Do they have a lot of money or a little bit of money? And why would that matter? Well, if they have a little bit of money, that's fine. It doesn't need to be tons and billions and trillions of dollars. They don't need that much money to run a book. But how many people are on the program and what kind of benefits are they promising you? And can they really deliver on those benefits based upon their capital? Now, small companies can have a big capital, and big companies can have small capital. And how does that happen? Happens with brick and mortar. Some large companies may have a lot of brick and mortar. They may have a lot of overhead, which it absolves a lot of the capital that they're making. Where the smaller company maybe doesn't have as much of that. Maybe they're more of a virtual suite. And if they're virtual, maybe they're able to save more money. And when they're saving that money, they're able to put that back into the program. So and that actually works vice versa as well. It really depends on the company. You see, this is why it's an important question to ask. It's an important value to have when choosing a company. So never mind the big or small, or never mind the capital, what else are some of the things that we could think about as well? Well, let's think about this. Is it a publicly traded company? Or is it a privately traded company? And why would that matter? Well, if it's a publicly traded company, who owns the company? Well, let's talk about that. If it's publicly traded, shareholders own the company. And shareholders, what do they care about? Yeah, that's right. Shareholders care about the dividends. And dividends equal money. So shareholders care about money. They don't care so much about your care, okay? They really care about the money that's being made and the money that's profitable, because that's how they make their dividends. It's an investment that they made. They want to make sure that they're getting dollars back on that. Where versus privately traded, if it's privately traded, who owns it? If a company is privately traded, typically it's owned by the employees or the employer. So it's privately owned. So some people may think, well, this is owned by the employees. They care more about you, right? So maybe they care more about you. So 3 little hearts right there. Sorry, my hearts aren't really great, but I'm doing the best I can. Let's get back to this thing here. So maybe they care about you more with the employees because they're privately traded. So let's talk about one more thing. What about if they're publicly versus private, if they got a big capital or small capital, but more importantly, what I like to look at is what's the culture? What do they believe in? Does this company align with your beliefs, your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, your personal beliefs, your opinions? Do they align with you? Because if they don't, I promise you that is going to become a problem for you in the future. Something's going to happen and the emotion's going to come and you're going to say, that company because they're this and they're that, and I found out about this in the news and the CEO makes way too much money and that's why they're not paying my bills. I can promise you, if you handled it early, you can avoid a lot of that pain, a lot of that stress, and a lot of that pressure that you will eventually hit. So it's important that you pay attention to the company and these certain values right there. This will help you avoid problems in the future, I promise you. So this is the first pillar, and the first pillar is about the company. Let's go ahead and move on to the second pillar now. Let's go ahead and clear that out. And now we're going to talk about the second pillar, okay? So we know we've got our first pillar right here, and that's company. I'll just put it really small, co, right here. Our second pillar after we choose the company that we want to do business with, our second pillar is going to be the plan. What kind of plan do we want to choose with this insurance company? Are we looking for health insurance? And if we're looking for health insurance, what kind of health insurance are we looking for? Are we looking for HMOs? Are we looking for PPOs? Are we looking for EPOs? Are we looking for HMO-POS? Are we looking for private fee for service? Are we looking for Medicare supplements? Are we looking for Obamacare? Are we looking for individual short-term plans? Are we looking for what? Prescription drug plans? What are we looking for when it comes to our health care? Maybe you're looking for an indemnity policy. Do you even know what that is? Or an HSA? Maybe you're looking for something like that. And maybe the other plan you're looking for is maybe a life insurance plan, or maybe a wealth insurance plan like an IUL, or a whole life policy that's infinite banking, or maybe an annuity. Or maybe you're really just looking for a life product like a 401k solo, or an IRA, or something of that nature. Right? So what kind of plan are you looking for this? Now for today, we're really going to be talking about the health portion of it, right? So we're going to be talking about health. And what about the health plan do you want to know? What's important to you? Well, let's go over some of the real important things that you're going to want to focus on when you're looking at these health plans. One of the important things that you're really going to look at with these health plans is, does it fit your network? And what network really means is your doctors. That's your doctors. Do your doctors fall inside of this network? Well, do they? Do you know? Have you asked anybody? Have you done the research? Have you figured it out? Because don't ask the doctor and don't go on a website. You got to make sure that you know this for sure, that it falls underneath that plan. HMO, PPO is a very big difference. There are different networks for every single program. You've got to know that. And those networks are going to differ from plan to plan and company to company. So it's really important to pay attention to those things. Does doctors fit into that? Do they cover all your needs? Do they cover prescriptions? Do they cover dental? Do they cover hearing? And what's the cost? How much does the insurance cost? Is it expensive? Is it not expensive? Can you afford it? Can you not afford it? And if you can't afford it, can someone help pay for it? Are there subsidies available? Okay? These are important things to know. Are you overinsured or underinsured? Do you know? See, it's an important thing to understand. Once you start to narrow down the plans, you can really start to get some stuff going on. You can really start to save some money and increase coverage. Now, what happens if you find the right plan, but it's with the wrong company? Or maybe you find the right company, but they don't have a plan that you like. What happens then? Well, for most people, what they would do is they would sacrifice one for the other, right? You would sacrifice the company because you found a good plan. Or you would sacrifice your wants and needs because the company meets your values. And why does this typically happen? 99% of the time, this sacrifice happens when you go it alone. When you decide, I'm going to do it on my own, I'm going to go to Medicare.gov and I'm going to pick my own insurance and I'm going to do it all on my own and I don't need anybody's help. Now this brings me to the last pillar, the third pillar, the most important pillar. And you're going to say, Philippe, of course you think this is the most important pillar. I can promise you, this is by far the most important thing that I'm going to talk about in this segment. And what I'm going to talk about to you today is not only are you going to pick the right company as a pillar and the right plan as a pillar, but the most important pillar, the pillar that decides the thickness and stability of all the other pillars, is the person you choose to do business with. That's right, the person you choose to do business with, because that person is going to represent you. That's the person that's going to describe the plans, the companies, and everything. They're the ones that are going to be asking you the questions and matching you to the right products. And does that person have your best interest at hand? So let's talk about that. The third pillar, I'm going to hit you with Old Testament here. Whom you do business with. Whom you do business with. Are you doing business with an agent? An agent? Are you doing business with a broker? Are you doing business with a banker? A financial planner? A 1-800 number? Are you doing business with the internet? Who are you doing business with? Hopefully, maybe you're doing business with Joe Theismann, right? On the 1-800 number on TV. That's TV, right? Do business with the Joes on TV. Maybe that's what you're doing. You're buying it from a retired actor or a retired football player. Maybe that's who you're getting your information from. Someone that's a professional in something completely different than what you're shopping for. Right? Whom you do business with is the most important thing, because I want you to focus on this. You're probably not doing business with this guy, and if you are, you're making a huge mistake, because that guy doesn't even sell insurance. This guy doesn't even know about insurance. He's a hired actor. He's getting paid to give you information that's being fed through a teleprompter. Nothing I'm telling you today is coming from a teleprompter. Are you doing business with the internet? I hope you're not doing that, because that could be a scam. The 1-800 number, they're not doing too much of a better job. Your financial planner, well, let me tell you what that guy's going to do. That guy's going to show you one option. He's going to tell you this is the best thing for you. And who is he to decide what's best for you? You see, I don't think that's right. I don't think that someone can tell you what's best for you. I think you know what's best for you. And I think if I show you enough options and tailor them to your wants and needs and ask enough questions and spend enough time with you, we can categorize that down to at least 3 options, and you can choose between the 3 and have a better chance at success in picking your health insurance, life insurance, or wealth insurance. Okay? So hopefully you're not doing business there. Bankers, probably unlikely. You're probably falling into one of these 2 categories up here, agent or broker. And what's the difference? Aren't they the same? Well, they're not the same. An agent, okay, is very different than a broker. Very different from the broker. And let's break that down. Let's talk about that. Agent versus broker. Okay? Agent versus broker. If I could categorize this down, let's talk about the first tier here. An agent. Who does an agent work for? Do you know? I can tell you really quick. An agent works for a company. One company. So the agent is an employee. So they work for one company. Okay? And if the agent represents one company, does it offer you unlimited plans or limited plans? What do you think? Wow, you guys are smart. That's exactly right. That's limited plans. So if they're offering you limited plans, right? So limited plans, what do you think? Does this agent, and this guy could be the most amazing person in the world, but if he works for an employee, that means he's being paid to do a job. And that job is to sell limited plans that this employer represents. And this guy sells those plans in order to make money and feed his family, which is noble, and I believe in that. I love that. The problem here is this agent only represents one employer. He represents limited plans, which gives him a bias. So know that when you get your information from here, it's biased information. And we all know that when you're shopping, you should go with unbiased information. So let's talk about that. A broker is an independent contractor. Okay? And if that broker is an independent contractor, and he can represent multiple companies, right? Multiple companies, what does that mean? Well, if he represents multiple companies, is he showing you limited or unlimited programs and strategies? Well, he's showing you more of an unlimited profile. Okay? And if he's showing you unlimited programs and unlimited profiles and multiple companies and multiple programs and plans, does he have a bias? No, he is more unbiased. So after understanding this, of course, you're looking at these two things and you're saying, well, who wouldn't choose a broker? This is obvious the way to go, right? This is the big winner. Yay! Go with a broker because they're unbiased in their opinion. But let's talk about that, because there's more to it. When you're talking about an agent versus a broker, please know that not all brokers are the same. Because you can represent multiple companies, you can choose to represent 2, 4, or all. So even within the brokers, if you represent 2, limited and bias. 4, limited and bias. And if you represent all, you have unlimited plans in the marketplace that you work, right? Because in this current marketplace that I'm in here in Florida, I represent 13 different insurance programs for a particular health side of things in the Medicare side, which is all the major players of the health industry here in this local area. So that's unlimited plans, which makes me unbiased, okay? Not every broker is built the same, and why? To make sure that you're contracted and certified to sell to 13 companies, it is time consuming. It takes us about 2 months here at ProCare to get the entire agency through it. It's a grueling process, but we have to do it. We want to do it. We love to do it. We get to do it. And the reason that we're very excited about it is because we're able to approach our clients with something that's completely different. We're able to approach our clients with service, with consulting. We're able to sit down with you, ask you questions, get answers from you, run it through a wonderful system that we have that you have full access to as well on our website. And we're able to run it through that system with your drugs, your doctors, everything, and be able to show you multiple options that cater to your wants and needs. We explain those to you, we help you cater them down, and we guide you to the program that's going to serve you best. So guys, these are my 3 pillars right here, and just to do a quick recap. The first pillar, okay, is the company. The second pillar is the plan. And the third pillar is who you do business with. And the reason who you do business with is more important than anything else is because you do business with an agent, you've got one plan. One thing to choose from, one guy to deal with. Look how thin those columns are. But when you do business with ProCare, your columns are very different because we do 13 different companies. So we have all these extra columns. You see this? Sorry guys, my pen's not working great today. We We've got all these extra columns, which means now we've got how many plans? Over 100 plans that you can choose from because we represent every plan that's on the market. So our columns are filled with concrete and mortar, and they're filled with rebar, and they're going to support the decisions that you're making way up here, these important decisions that you're making for your health, your wealth, your life, your legacy. Protect what matters most. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Here's to your health. We'll see you in the next trade.
Or go to info.